Have you ever wondered where the legends of vampires really began? Not the sparkling kind, not the ones in books or movies, but the real stories. The ones that were whispered through villages at night past, from mother to child, told by candlelight when the forests outside grew to quiet. Very strange circumstances. Let me take you back. Did you know the first recorded vampire panic happened in 18th century Europe? Not in Transylvania, but in a small village in Serbia. 1725 Medvega, Serbia. A man named Petar Blagojević died after a short illness. Within 8 days of his burial, 9 more villagers died. But before they died, they all claimed the same thing. Petar came to me in the night. He sat on my chest. I couldn't move. Villagers demanded his body be exhumed. When they did, they found no decay. His beard had grown. His mouth was wet with blood. Terrified, they staked his heart and burned his body. That story made it all the way to the Austrian Empire, where it was documented in official military records. That wasn't fiction. That was fact. But where did this idea even come from? That a dead person could return, feed on the living and cause death just by presence? Let's go further back. 15th century Wallachia, present-day Romania. And one name, Vlad III Dracula, also known as Vlad the Impaler. Yes, the same Dracula Bram Stoker would later base his novel on. Vlad was no vampire, but he was something else entirely. A warlord, brutal, intelligent, terrifying. He earned his nickname the Impaler by skewering thousands of enemies, Turkish soldiers, thieves, and even his own people on massive wooden stakes. Forests of corpses rotted outside his castle walls. But here's what people don't tell you. Some accounts from the Ottoman soldiers said Vlad drank the blood of his enemies. Not from fangs, but from a goblet. That's not fiction. It's in letters written by his enemies and allies alike. And when Stoker wrote Dracula centuries later, he used Vlad's name, but twisted the myth. He turned fear of death into seduction. He made the vampire immortal. But the original stories, they weren't sexy. They were rooted in death, disease and pure terror. But it didn't stop with Vlad. In New England, the vampire panic returned in a very real, very disturbing way. Rhode Island, 1892. A girl named Mercy Brown died of tuberculosis, then called consumption. But when more members of her family began dying, villagers believed something unnatural was at work. They blamed Mercy, even though she was already buried. So they dug her up. And what they found horrified them. Mercy's body hadn't decayed. Her hair and nails had grown. There was still blood in her heart. Locals removed her heart and liver, burned them, and mixed the ashes into a drink, which they fed to her sick brother as a cure. He died anyway. But this wasn't a rare event. Over 80 documented vampire exhumations took place across New England in the 1800s. This was not fiction. It was in the newspapers, in town records, written in plain ink and terrified belief. What's chilling isn't just that people believed in vampires, it's why. Because before medicine, before science could explain diseases like tuberculosis, porphyria, or sleep paralysis, people needed answers. And sometimes, the answer they found was the undead. Take the case of Arne Pale, 1726, also Serbian. He was a soldier who claimed to be haunted by a vampire in his youth. He returned to his village, seemed healthy, then suddenly died. Within weeks, more people were already dead. They dug up Arne and found his body fresh. They staked him and burned him, but the deaths didn't stop. So they exhumed 17 more villagers, all showing signs of vampirism. This was so serious, Austrian military surgeons came to document it. Their report, complete with autopsy sketches, was submitted to the Habsburg government. You can still read it in archives today. That's not legend. That's history. And what about Elizabeth Bathory, the Hungarian countess from the 16th century, often called the Blood Countess? She was accused of torturing and killing over 600 young girls, and allegedly bathing in their blood to preserve her youth. Her trial records, real ones, show witness accounts of brutality beyond imagination. Many historians think the bathing in blood story was exaggerated, but it stuck. Because what's more horrifying than someone who kills to stay young forever? Sound familiar? It's a vampire in disguise. You see, the vampire legend didn't just come from bats or coffins or capes. It came from real people and real fear, from grave robbers digging up bodies to prove their neighbor was undead, from ancient diseases misdiagnosed as demonic possession, from cries in the dark woods mistaken for lost souls. Even today people claim to see vampires, not like movies, but like entities. In 2004, a man in Malawi claimed to be attacked by a bloodsucker. Riots broke out. People were killed by angry mobs who believed vampires were working with the government. In 2012, in Bulgaria, two skeletons were found buried with iron stakes through their chests. They were over 800 years old. The archaeologists' report labeled them anti-vampire burials. In Mexico, in certain villages, some still hang garlic by their doors. In Greece, on the island of Santorini, villagers once dug up the dead, looking for signs of vampirism if crops failed or livestock died. And in Romania, as late as 2004, a family exhumed their uncle's corpse, removed his heart, burned it, and drank the ashes in water. This was 2004, not 1704. They believed he was still walking at night. But here's what ties it all together. Science tells us vampires aren't real, they're superstition, born from misunderstanding. But history tells a different story. Not of bloodsuckers, but of a world that saw death as a mystery and gave it a face. A face with sharp teeth, a corpse that wouldn't stay dead, a neighbor who came back for you in the night. And maybe that's what vampires really are. Not monsters hiding in the dark, but the part of us that can't explain what we fear most. Death, loss, decay, madness, and here's the last fact you should know. The last known official vampire burial happened in 2015. In Poland, a skeleton was found with its legs pinned by a sickle. An anti-vampire ritual. Over 600 years of vampire belief, and it still hasn't ended. And you? What do you think? Do you think vampires exist? Or it's just our old scary myth? Write exist if you think it's real, and write myth if you don't.